Hi everyone. So this little video is going to show you how to make a histogram using Excel. So this is something you'll need to know how to do for the first assignment. A histogram is a graph that summarizes the distribution of values in a data set. So here's a sample histogram that I have. So here we have mark percentages on the x-axis here, and then frequency on the y-axis. So this just shows the distribution of some, sample marks on an exam, for example. So you'll notice that the horizontal or the x-axis, the numbers are actually in ranges. So what this shows you is how many marks fell in each range of values. So there was nothing in the 0 to 9% range or the 10 to 19% range. One mark fell in this 20 to 29% range. Nothing in the 30s. 4 marks each in the 40s to 50s. A lot more in the 60s and 70s, and so on. So it gives you an idea of kind of what the data set looks like. Oops. Okay, so how to make one. So first you need to have all your data typed out. So this is just some sample tricone density data. The next thing you need to do is type out your bin ranges in one column. So those would be the ranges you want the data grouped into. So here our bins would be 0 to 9, 10 to 19, and so on. So I've got them broken up in groups of 10. So for this one, the range of the data here is 0 to 24. So I'll group these in bins of 5. So the first one will be 0 to 4, 5 to 9 would be the next one. And if you, so you'll notice I typed 5 to 9 and it converted it to a date. So if I want to fix that, I'll just right click, format cells, and I'm just going to put text. So it'll show whatever I type in there. I'll need to fix that again, so 5 to 9. So if Excel does something like kind of automatically formats a cell in a way you don't want, so to fix that, you right click, format cells, and you can just pick how you want the cells formatted. So I picked text. So text format cells are treated as text even when there's a number. So its cell is displayed exactly as entered. So 5 to 9. Next one would be 10 to 14, and it did that again. So I'm just going to actually click this whole column and format the cells. So text there, and 10 to 14. Next would be 15 to 19, and then 20 to 24. Okay, so there's our bins. Next one, in the next column, we want to type out the top value in each bin. So 4, 9, 14, 19, and 24. Okay, so the next thing, of all of these options at the top, we want to have data picked, and then we want to go to data analysis. So some of you might find when you go to data that you don't have this data analysis option. Excel doesn't always include it automatically. So if you find that you don't have it, you can add it in. So to add it in, you go to File, and then at the bottom here, we go to Options. I'll click Options. And then on this menu on the side, I'll click Add-ins. Okay, so I had to double click it. And at the bottom here, so it says Manage Excel Add-ins. And then I'm just going to hit Go, because it's, we want add-ins. Go, and then it gives you the add-ins available. And what you would want to click would be Analysis Toolpack. And then you would click OK, and then hopefully your data analysis will come up. All right, so I'll hit Data Analysis, and then we'll pick Histogram, and click OK. So you need to fill in some the boxes here. So input range, so that would be the raw data. So I'll click this black arrow here, up, and then I'll highlight all of our trichome density data. Okay, so there we go. I've selected all the trichome density data. Click this, that'll maximize this again. And then our bin ranges. So again, here we want to click this. And here's where we click, so here it would be column D. So where we've where we've typed in the upper value of each bin range. So we'll choose that, click that again. I'm not going to check this labels because I did not highlight the label for column A, the trichome density. If you did highlight it when you were putting your input range, then you would check this value. So output options, I just want my output in the same worksheet here. So I'm going to click this radio button next to output range, and then click this, and then I'll just click this cell right here, and that's where our output will come. If you want the output in a new worksheet, you could, click this one, but I'll just have it in this same worksheet. Okay, so we've filled in our input, so our data, our bin ranges, and we've selected where we want the output to go. Don't worry about these for now. Then I'll just click OK. Alrighty, so what it has here, so these are our bins, so just the ones we put in column D, and then our frequencies. So we have 15 data points that fall into the 0 to 4 range, 21 in the 5 to 9, 18 in 10 to 14, and so on. So you can see that the data are kind of, like most data points kind of fall in this, I guess, 5 to 14 range, with fewer ones in this higher 20 to 24 range. Okay, so now we need to make an actual chart from this. So what I will do is go to Insert, and here's your different types of charts. So we're going to pick, actually I'll talk about this histogram one in a bit, but we'll pick a bar chart, so 2D column. Okay, so we'll have this kind of white box come up. That's where our chart is going to go. So now we need to pick Select Data. Okay. So under Legend Entries, I'm just going to click Add. Series name, we can just leave blank. Series value, we want to highlight these frequencies. So I'll click this upward facing arrow. Highlight our frequencies. Click it again. And then I'm going to click OK. For horizontal category axis labels, what I'm going to do, so click this upward arrow, and I'm going to select what I typed in column C, so our actual ranges I typed out. So highlight those, click the downward facing arrow, and then I'm going to click OK. And I'll click that again. Alrighty, so this is what we have. For now, you could type in a chart title here. In lab reports and other things, you actually want captions written underneath a chart. So I'm just going to delete the chart title from that. So take that out. So this looks all right. So we can see our bins are labeled properly. So here we have 0 to 4, and we have 15 values there. This chart is missing titles for our X and Y axes. So we do want to add those. So again, I'll highlight our chart. So here we have our chart tools. That'll appear every time you have your chart highlighted. And we'll just go to Add Chart Element. Okay, so now we do want axis titles. Primary horizontal, so we'll start with our x-axis. I'll click on that. Axis title, so we want to be a little more descriptive there. So these would be trichome density values, so trichome density. And that would be number of trichomes per centimeters squared. Okay, so there's our x-axis title. And you can change the font size or anything like that. But yeah, just go to home, and then here's our font option. So if I want to bold it, I can do that, for example. Okay, so back to chart tools, so design. Now we need to add the vertical axis or the y-axis title. And it appears there. So again, we'll click on it, change that, and we'll just pick frequency. Oops. There. Oh, and again, I will bold that, so I'll just click it, and there we go. Okay, so that's better. We have our X and Y axis titles. The last thing we want to do here, so a proper histogram, there's not going to be any spaces in between the bars. So we want to fix that. So I'll click on bars here. Format. There we go. So double click it. Okay, so we have format data point, series options. So make sure that this kind of set of bars is clicked like that. And you can pick series overlap or gap width. So here we don't want any spaces between the bars. So to get rid of that, we just set this to 0, and there we go. So that gets rid of those spaces. If you do want to have some lines actually separating these bars so they look distinct, again, click on the bars. It's kind of handy to have this separate menu up here. So if that doesn't appear, you can just double click it. And here you can actually like change the color of your bars or anything like that. So border, we do want a solid line, and we can just pick a different color. That'll make the border stand out from the fill color. So we'll just pick a black. And there we go. Now we have each bar looking distinct there. If you don't like the blue, you can, again, change color of the bar. Just go to fill and pick whatever color you want. White, for example. That only changed one of them. I'll just change that back to blue. Oops. Okay, so there we go. So that's our histogram. And this has everything you need. So the values, titles on the axes, and this, again, shows you kind of how the data are distributed. Very few values in this kind of upper bin here, 20 to 24, with most of the data being kind of clustered in these lower ranges. I did note that there is another way to do this. There is if you go to Insert Charts, there is a histogram one. I don't like this one as much. The way I showed you how to do it here gives you a little more control over what the graph looks like, over what values you have in the horizontal axis, and so on. But you can play with that histogram function if you want. So that's how you make a histogram in Excel. When you actually do your assignment, so again, the values might look a bit different from this. I just kind of type these in so I'd have an example to use. The number of bins, again, there's no magic number of how many bins you want to have. You don't want to have too many of them. But if you use too few, your histogram probably isn't going to be very informative. So probably between maybe 5 and 10 will be good. So here we had 25 different values, so 0 to 24. And that kind of divided neatly into 5 different bins ranging from span of 5 values, like 0 to 4. So that's what I went for this. So you'll actually have to have a look at the data and decide for yourself how to bin it appropriately. If you ever do have any questions while you're working on an assignment, feel free to, either give me a call if it's kind of during working hours, or you can send me an email anytime. Okay, thank you very much.